For those of you who don't know Edgar Cayce, he was the most well-documented psychic in history. He's made 14,000 predictions and never one wrong. If you Google him, you may get that he said that California and New York would be in the ocean in 98. It's not true. He said the cycle starts 58 to 98, and then further says that 2000 is when the cycle really begins, and that 2100 it'll be finished, and names the places again that will be in the ocean in 2100. So 1958 is when NASA was started because of the sunspots, which Edgar Cayce specifically says is going to cause the pole shift. And then 98 was when they detected the slight pole shift that could be of concern. So he was scarily accurate on that one. He predicted the stock market crash of 1929, when it would rise in 1931, when Hitler would reign, when they go to war, the exact alliances, exact dates everybody would enter, the death of FDR and JFK, that the 44th president would be black, Obama was black, blood would be a diagnostic tool, 21st century, we'd have wireless phones, by the end of it, wireless TVs. I mean, that told us about Atlantis, the Lemurians, and so when you hear about that kind of stuff, just know it's not mythology. The Akashic Records is the 8th dimension, and it connects to all other levels of the universe. It goes all the way back to ancient Coptic texts. It was first told to us by Madame Blavatsky, who was another medium, psychic and medium, who told us about the Lemurians and the Atlanteans. It's a cosmic stream of consciousness where you can access your psychic abilities, intuition, even past lives. In my opinion, I also think you can access your creativity. I think it holds all creativity, from music to art to writing to humor. Also, intellectuality, like a lot of these geniuses, they can access it from there. I think anybody can access it, but you have to be at a spiritually heightened place. A lot of people are just born with better access to it than others. The Akashic Records is where Edgar Cayce got his information from. That's why he's called the sleeping prophet. He would lay down and supposedly go to sleep, but I think it was more of a trance, and he would access this stream of consciousness. And he told an 18-year-old girl once that the Akashic Records of the mental world is comparable to a movie theater of the physical world. You can replay it to understand the past experiences. The Akashic Records holds our opportunities lost, our lessons learned, our faults. It also acquires the passwords to our soul memory. And Edgar Cayce says that karma is nothing but memory. That we don't have karma within each other, but only karma within ourselves. Edgar Cayce describes a state that he's been in to obtain these Akashic Records. He's outside of his body, and he's just a tiny little dot in the universe. And he's scared, feels extremely lonely, desolate, and then he sees a white beam of light. He knows he needs to follow the white beam of light or else he's going to be lost, which to me sounds like an after-death experience. He starts elevating up into the white light and sees like misshapen beings, says kind of like figures out of a horror movie, probably these entities wearing gray robes. He ascends. As he descends, the robes become whiter and whiter until they're like very bright. Then he starts going down and becoming aware of the movement, sees the houses, hears the birds and whatnot. Then he goes to this hall of records, which he specifies there's no, not actual hall, there's no like walls and ceilings, and he meets a man that gives him a book. And that book contains the information, psychic information, that he's going to relay to the individual. Which is interesting because when he was a child, he also slept on books to obtain the knowledge which an angel told him to do, or an extraterrestrial, what he thought was an angel.